Black Waitress took a bullet meant for the Korean Mafia boss. 24 hours later, he was on one knee with a ring. The bullet entered Martha's shoulder before she even registered the sound of the gunshot. One moment she was refilling coffee at table 7, the next she was on the ground, ceramic shards and dark liquid spreading across the diner's checkered floor. Pain exploded through her body, white hot and consuming, but through the haze she saw him, the Korean man in the expensive suit who'd been sitting alone by the window, diving toward her, eyes wide with shock and something else, something that looked like recognition. "Stay down!" His accent was slight but noticeable, voice commanding despite the chaos erupting around them. More gunshots shattered the front windows of Lucille's diner, sending the lunch crowd into screaming panic. Martha tried to move, tried to understand what was happening, but her body wouldn't cooperate. Blood was everywhere. Her blood. The man, she'd served him black coffee and apple pie just 10 minutes ago, remembered thinking he was too beautiful for this neighborhood, covered her body with his own as bullets continued to tear through the space. She felt his heart hammering against her back, felt the tension in his muscles, smelled his cologne mixed with her own blood and fear. "I've got you," he said into her ear, voice steady despite the violence. "Just hold on, please hold on." Martha's vision started tunneling, darkness creeping in from the edges. She heard sirens in the distance. More shouting, the distinctive sound of someone screaming her name. Probably Lou, her manager, who'd hired her 3 years ago when no one else would. And then everything went black. She woke up in the ambulance, the man still beside her, his hand gripping hers with desperate strength. His suit was ruined, covered in her blood, but his dark eyes were focused entirely on her face. "Stay with me," he commanded. "Don't you dare close your eyes again." "Who?" Martha's voice was barely a whisper. "Who are you?" "Kim Tae-jin, and you just saved my life." He looked shattered, almost angry. "That bullet was meant for me. You stepped in front of it." Didn't mean to." Her words slurred. "Just walking. I know, and I'm so fucking sorry." His thumb stroked across her knuckles, the gesture surprisingly gentle. "But I promise you, I swear on everything I have, you will survive this. And when you do, I'm going to spend the rest of my life making this right." Martha wanted to ask what he meant, wanted to understand why someone was shooting at a customer in her diner, why this stranger looked at her like she was precious. But the darkness pulled her under again, and this time she didn't fight it. When Martha next opened her eyes, harsh fluorescent lights made her wince. Hospital. The smell of antiseptic and the steady beep of monitors confirmed it. Her shoulder was on fire, every breath sending pain radiating through her chest. She tried to move and immediately regretted it. "Don't!" The voice came from beside her bed. Tae-jin was there, still in his blood-stained clothes, looking like he hadn't moved in hours. Dark circles shadowed his eyes and stubble covered his usually clean-shaven jaw. "You've been in surgery for 6 hours. The bullet nicked your subclavian artery. You almost died." Martha's mouth was dry, tongue feeling too thick. "Water." He was on his feet immediately, helping her sip from a straw with surprising tenderness. When she'd had enough, he set the cup aside and just looked at her, something complicated and intense in his expression. My family," Martha managed. "Your mother and sister are in the cafeteria. I insisted they eat something. They've been here the whole time." He hesitated. "I haven't left either." "Why?" The question came out sharper than intended. "You don't know me. I'm nobody. You took a bullet meant for me. That makes you somebody very important." Tae-jin pulled his chair closer, elbows on his knees, hands clasped. "Martha Hayes, 26 years old. You've worked at Lucille's diner for 3 years. You send most of your money home to help your mother with medical bills. She has diabetes. Your younger sister Jasmine is in her 2nd year at community college, studying nursing." You live alone in a studio apartment in Inglewood. You want to be a teacher someday but can't afford to go back to school? Fear spiked through Martha's chest. How do you know all that? Because the moment they wheeled you into surgery, I had my people find out everything about you. I needed to know who you were, who I'd put in danger. His jaw tightened. Martha, those men weren't random shooters. They were sent to kill me, and you got in the way. Who are you? Martha tried to sit up, gasped at the pain, and Taejin immediately moved to help adjust her pillows. Really? Who are you that people are trying to kill you in a diner at lunchtime? He met her eyes and she saw him make a decision. I'm the head of the Kim family, what Americans call the Korean Mafia. I control most of the organized crime operations in Koreatown and surrounding areas. And those men work for a rival organization that wants me dead. The words should have terrified her. Martha should have screamed for security, demanded he leave. Instead, she found herself asking, why were you at Lucille's? That's nowhere near Koreatown. I was meeting someone, a potential ally. His expression darkened. It was supposed to be neutral territory. I thought I'd be safe in a neighborhood diner at noon. I was wrong, and you paid the price for my mistake. So those men, they'll come back? Try again? No. Something cold and final entered Taejin's voice. They won't. I made sure of it last night. Their organization has been dismantled. The people who gave the order are dead. No one will threaten you again. Martha absorbed that. This beautiful man in the expensive suit had killed people. Multiple people, probably. Because they'd shot her. Because she'd accidentally taken a bullet meant for him. I should be scared of you, she said slowly. You should be. But I'm not. I'm just confused and in pain and wondering what happens now. Now, Taejin leaned forward, now I make sure you have the best care possible, the best doctors, the best rehabilitation, everything you need to fully recover. All your medical bills are covered. Your mother's bills are covered. Your rent is covered. And when you're healed, stop. Martha's good hand came up. I can't accept charity. I don't need a criminal's guilt money. His eyes flashed. It's not charity. It's responsibility. You were hurt because of me. That makes your recovery my obligation. I don't want to be anyone's obligation. Too bad. You already are. He stood pacing to the window. Martha, do you understand what you did? That bullet would have killed me. Hit me in the chest, probably straight through my heart. You stepped in front of it. You, a complete stranger, put yourself between me and death without even thinking. I told you, I was just walking. I didn't. You did. He turned back to her, eyes blazing. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was fate. But the result is the same. You saved my life, and I will not let you suffer for it. Before Martha could respond, the door burst open and her mother rushed in, followed by Jasmine. Baby! Oh, thank God, you're awake! Her mother's hands were all over her face, checking her temperature, smoothing her hair, tears streaming down her brown cheeks. I'm okay, Mama. I'm okay. Martha caught her mother's hands, squeezing gently. Over her mother's shoulder, she saw Jasmine staring at Taejin with wide, suspicious eyes. Who's that? Jasmine asked bluntly. And why does he look like he's been here all night? Taejin bowed slightly, a formal gesture that seemed natural to him. Kim Taejin. I was at the diner when Martha was shot. I wanted to make sure she recovered. That's real nice of you, Martha's mother said, sizing him up with the sharp eyes of someone who'd raised 2 daughters alone in a tough neighborhood. But you look like you need to go home and sleep, honey. We'll take care of our girl now. Of course. Taejin moved toward the door, but paused, looking back at Martha. I'll be back tomorrow. We have more to discuss. After he left, Jasmine immediately turned to Martha. Okay, who the hell was that? And don't say just some customer, because that man looks at you like you're the last woman on earth. It's complicated, Martha said weakly. Girl, it better be, because that was a whole Korean god covered in your blood. looking like he was ready to burn the world down if you didn't wake up. Martha wanted to explain, but exhaustion pulled at her. The pain medication was kicking in, making everything fuzzy at the edges. Later, I promise. Just stay. We're not going anywhere, her mother assured her, settling into the chair Tae-jin had occupied for hours. You rest, baby. We'll be right here. As Martha drifted off, she thought about dark eyes and blood-stained suits, and the way a stranger had looked at her like she was worth protecting, like she mattered. It was probably the drugs making her feel warm inside. Probably. Martha woke sometime in the night to find the hospital room dark except for the dim glow of monitors. Her mother was asleep in the chair, mouth slightly open, snoring softly. Jasmine was curled up on the small couch under the window, and standing in the shadows near the door, barely visible, was a figure. Who's there? Martha's voice came out raspy, scared. The figure stepped into the light, and Martha's heart rate settled. Not Tae-jin, but a woman, Korean, mid-30s, dressed all in black, with sharp eyes that assessed Martha clinically. My name is Choi Yoon-hee. I work for Kim Tae-jin. Her English was nearly perfect, accent barely noticeable. I'm here to ensure your safety. At 3 in the morning? At all times, you're under 24-hour protection until the situation is fully resolved. Yoon-hee moved closer, footsteps silent. There are 2 more of my people outside your door. Another team watching your mother's house. 2 watching your sister's dorm. You and everyone you care about are safe. Martha didn't know whether to be grateful or disturbed. Is that really necessary? He said the threat was eliminated. The immediate threat, yes. But in our world, eliminating one enemy often creates others. Those who worked for the dead men may seek revenge. Those who see you as Kim Tae-jin's weakness may try to exploit it. Yoon-hee's expression softened slightly. He won't risk you. Any of you. I'm not his anything. I'm just a waitress who was in the wrong place. You're the woman who saved his life. In his world, that creates a debt that can never be fully repaid. But more than that, Yoon-hee paused, seeming to choose her words carefully. I've worked for Kim Tae-jin for 8 years. I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. Like you're something precious he's terrified of breaking. Heat flooded Martha's cheeks. That's ridiculous. He doesn't know me. Perhaps, but he wants to. Yoon-hee moved back toward the shadows. Sleep, Martha Hayes. You're safe. I promise you that. The woman disappeared into the darkness, and Martha was left staring at the ceiling, trying to process everything. A mafia boss, protection details, a debt that couldn't be repaid. And underneath it all, a flutter in her chest when she thought about how Tae-jin had held her hand in the ambulance, the desperation in his voice when he told her to hold on. You're in trouble, girl, she whispered to herself. Deep, deep trouble. Tae-jin returned the next morning looking considerably better. Clean suit, freshly shaved, but those dark circles still shadowed his eyes. He carried an enormous bouquet of sunflowers and roses, along with several bags that smelled incredible. I brought breakfast, he announced, setting everything on the rolling table. I didn't know what you liked, so I got options. Congee, pancakes, fresh fruit, bagels, coffee from that place everyone seems to love. That's enough food for 10 people, Martha interrupted, but she was smiling despite herself. Her mother and Jasmine had left an hour ago to shower and change, promising to return by lunch. You didn't have to do all this. I wanted to. He began unpacking containers with careful precision. You're stuck eating hospital food otherwise, and that's a crime against humanity. Pretty sure you commit actual crimes. His hands stilled, and he looked up at her. Yes, I do. Does that bother you? Martha considered the question seriously. It should. Everything about this situation should bother me. But honestly, I'm more bothered by the fact that I got shot, and I'll probably lose my job, and I don't know how I'm going to pay my rent, and... She stopped, surprised by the sudden tears burning her eyes. Sorry, the pain medication makes me emotional. You won't lose your job. I bought the diner. Martha's jaw dropped. You what? I bought Lucille's diner. As of 7 this morning. Lou is staying on as manager. All employees keep their positions, but the property is now mine, which means your job is secure whenever you're ready to return. Tae-jin said this like it was perfectly normal. Also, your rent is covered for the next year, and your mother's medical bills have been paid in full. You can't do that. Martha tried to sit up, winced, and Tae-jin was immediately there, helping her adjust. His hands were gentle but firm, and Martha was acutely aware of how close he was, the way his cologne smelled like cedar and something exotic. I can, and I did. Martha, you took a bullet for me, a bullet that would have killed me. There is no amount of money, no gesture large enough to repay that debt. So you're what, trying to buy me? Make me dependent on you? Pain flashed across his face. No. God, no. I'm trying to give you options. Freedom. You said you wanted to be a teacher someday, but couldn't afford school. Now you can afford it. You send most of your paycheck home to help your family. Now you don't have to. I'm not trying to own you, Martha. I'm trying to give you the life you deserve. And what do you get out of this? He was quiet for a long moment, studying her with those intense dark eyes. Peace of mind, knowing that you're okay, that your sacrifice didn't ruin your life. He pulled the chair close to her bed, sitting down heavily. And maybe the chance to know you. Really know you. Because in the ambulance, when you were bleeding out in my arms, I made a promise to myself. If you survived, I would make sure you never regretted saving me. I don't regret it, Martha said softly. I mean, getting shot sucks. Really sucks. But I do it again. Why? She shrugged with her good shoulder. Because that's what you do. You see someone in danger, you help, even if they're strangers, even if it costs you something. My grandma raised me to believe that we're all connected, all responsible for each other. That turning away from someone's pain makes you less human. Tae-jin looked at her like she'd said something profound. Your grandmother sounds like she was a wise woman. She was. She died when I was 18, but I still hear her voice sometimes, telling me to stand up straight, work hard, be kind, even when the world isn't kind back. Martha smiled at the memory. She'd probably have words about me getting mixed up with a criminal, though. She'd be right to. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees. Martha, I need you to understand something. My world is dangerous, violent. I've done things I'm not proud of, hurt people, killed people. I'm not a good man by most standards, but I protect what's mine. And whether you accept it or not, you're under my protection now. I'm not yours. Not yet. The words were quiet but loaded with meaning. But I'd like you to be. Someday, if you'll let me. Martha's heart hammered in her chest. You're proposing what exactly? Some kind of relationship? You and me? I'm proposing that when you're healed, you let me take you to dinner. Let me show you who I am beyond the violence. Let me prove that I can be worthy of the gift you gave me. His hand reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away, and covered hers on the blanket. I'm not asking for forever, just a chance. She should say no, should recognize this for what it was. Gratitude mixing with guilt, creating false feelings that would burn out fast. But looking into Tae-jin's eyes, Martha saw something that looked an awful lot like desperate hope. Like he was offering her something precious and terrifying himself in the process. One dinner, she heard herself say, when I'm healed. One dinner, and we'll see. The smile that broke across his face was like sunrise. One dinner, I can work with that. But before their dinner could happen, Martha's world imploded again. She'd been in the hospital for 3 days, recovering well according to the doctors, when Jasmine showed up alone, face streaked with tears, hands shaking. It's Mama, she gasped. She collapsed at home. They're saying it's a stroke. Terror gripped Martha's chest. Where is she? Which hospital? Cedars-Sinai. They took her by ambulance an hour ago. Martha, I'm so scared. What if? Don't say it. Martha was already trying to get out of bed, ignoring the screaming pain in her shoulder. Help me get dressed. We need to go. You can't leave. The doctor said. I don't care what the doctor said. That's our mother. Martha was crying now, frustrated and terrified, and in more pain than she wanted to admit. Please, Jas, help me. The door opened and Tae-jin walked in, took one look at the situation, and immediately moved into action. What happened? Her mother had a stroke, Jasmine explained, still crying. She needs to go to Cedars-Sinai, but the doctors won't release her. Then we won't ask permission. Tae-jin pulled out his phone, rapid-fire Korean into it, then hung up. My car is being brought around. I'll have Dr. Park, my personal physician, meet us at Cedars-Sinai. Martha, can you walk? I'll crawl if I have to. Something fierce and approving flashed in his eyes. That won't be necessary. He moved to her side, carefully helping her stand, supporting most of her weight. To Jasmine, grab whatever she needs. We're leaving now. They walked out of the hospital, past nurses who protested weakly, past the security Yoon-hee had arranged, into the bright afternoon sun where a black Mercedes waited. Tae-jin helped Martha into the back seat with heartbreaking gentleness, then climbed in beside her while Jasmine took the front passenger seat. Drive fast, Tae-jin told the driver, but safe. She's already been hurt enough. The drive to Cedars-Sinai was a blur of pain and terror. Martha leaned against Tae-jin's shoulder, his arm around her waist, holding her steady as they took corners. He didn't speak, just held her, his presence somehow calming despite the crisis. At the hospital, Dr. Park was waiting, a sharp-eyed woman in her 50s who took one look at Martha's pale face and immediately called for a wheelchair. You're reopening the wound, she scolded. Sit, now. Martha obeyed, and Tae-jin pushed the wheelchair himself, following Jasmine to the ICU where their mother was being treated. The doctors there initially tried to keep them out, family-only visiting hours. But one look at Tae-jin's face, one whispered conversation with Dr. Park, and suddenly doors were opening. Their mother looked small in the hospital bed, half her face drooping, eyes closed. Martha's breath caught. Mama? The good eye opened, focusing on Martha with effort. Baby, you shouldn't be here. The words were slurred, barely understandable. I'm exactly where I should be. Martha wheeled closer, taking her mother's hand. You're going to be okay. The doctors are going to fix this. You hear me? You're going to be fine. Over the next hours, as doctors ran tests and consulted in hushed voices, Tae-jin made things happen. A private room was secured. The best neurologist in Los Angeles was pulled from his day off. Treatment plans were developed with speed that made Jasmine's eyes widen. And through it all, Tae-jin stayed, a quiet presence in the corner, handling logistics while Martha and Jasmine focused on their mother. It wasn't until late evening, when the doctors had finally given them good news, the stroke was relatively minor, caught early, excellent prognosis for recovery, that Martha really looked at what Tae-jin had done. He'd orchestrated everything, called in favors, probably paid obscene amounts of money, moved heaven and earth for a woman he'd never met. Why? She asked him as they sat in the waiting area, Jasmine having finally gone to get food. Why are you doing all this for my family? Tae-jin looked at her, and there was something raw in his expression. Because they're important to you, which makes them important to me. You barely know me. I know enough. He shifted to face her fully. I know you walked into danger without hesitation to save a stranger. I know you tried to check yourself out of the hospital against medical advice to be with your mother. I know you sent most of your paycheck home for years to take care of your family. I know you're strong and brave and kind in ways I've never encountered before. That's just being decent. It's not special. It's extraordinary. His hand found hers, thumb tracing across her knuckles. Martha, in my world, people don't help each other without expecting something in return. Everything is transactional. But you just give. Naturally, like it's the easiest thing in the world. And he stopped, seeming to struggle with words. I want to be near that. Near you. Near someone who makes me remember there's more to life than power and violence and survival. Martha's throat tight. Tai Jin, I'm falling in love with you. The words came out rushed, like he'd been holding them back, and they'd finally broken free. I know it's too soon. I know it's crazy. We've known each other 4 days, most of which you've spent in a hospital bed. But Martha, I can't stop thinking about you. About how it felt to hold you in that ambulance. How terrified I was that you'd die. How grateful I am that you didn't. That's gratitude, trauma bonding. It's not love. Then explain why every time I close my eyes, I see your smile. Why your voice is the only thing that makes the nightmares stop. Why the thought of you hurting, physically or emotionally, makes me want to tear the world apart. His grip on her hand tightened. Martha, I've never felt this way about anyone, and I know I don't deserve you. I know I'm a criminal and you're good and pure and everything I'm not, but I'm asking anyway. Give me a chance to make you happy. Martha's heart was pounding so hard she thought it might burst. This was insane. She'd known this man less than a week. He was a criminal. He lived in a world of violence and danger. Every logical part of her brain screamed to walk away. But her heart, that traitorous thing, was singing a different song. Because Tai Jin had held her when she was bleeding, had stayed by her bedside for hours, had moved mountains for her mother without being asked, had looked at her like she was precious, valuable, worth protecting. This is insane, she whispered. Completely, he agreed. You're a gangster. Technically, the preferred term is organized crime leader. But yes, I could get hurt. Again, not while I'm breathing. I swear it on everything I am. Martha studied his face. Those dark eyes, the sharp jawline, the scar above his left eyebrow that she wanted to trace with her fingers. She thought about her grandmother's voice telling her to be kind, to help others, to see the good in people. And she saw good in Tai Jin, buried under violence and power, but there, real and struggling to break free. Okay, she said. Okay, let's try. But Tai Jin, I need honesty, complete honesty. If we're doing this, I need to know what I'm getting into. Relief and joy flooded his face. Anything. Ask me anything, and I'll tell you the truth. How dangerous is your life, really? Very. I have enemies who would kill me without hesitation. I've survived 3 assassination attempts in the last 2 years. The shooting at the diner was the 4th. He didn't flinch from the truth. But I'm protected. I have the best security money can buy, and I'm not easy to kill. Most days my life is boring. Meetings, paperwork, negotiations. The violence is rare. But it exists. Yes. And if we're together, I become a target. You're already a target. That won't change whether we're together or not. But if we're together, you're under my full protection. Every resource I have dedicated to keeping you safe. Martha absorbed that. What exactly do you do? I know you said organized crime, but what does that mean? I control most of the gambling, protection services, and import operations in Koreatown and parts of downtown LA. Some of it's legal, some exists in gray areas, some is outright illegal. I employ about 300 people directly, support maybe 1,000 more indirectly. I help Korean immigrants establish businesses, protect them from exploitation, mediate disputes. He paused. I also hurt people who threaten what's mine. I've killed 17 men personally, ordered the deaths of maybe 20 more. The numbers should have horrified her. Instead, Martha found herself asking, did they deserve it? Most of them. The ones I killed personally were all trying to kill me or mine. The ones I ordered, some deserved it. Some were just in the way. I'm not proud of all my choices, but I'd make most of them again to protect my people. Your people, who are they? The Korean community in LA. The families who depend on my organization for protection, for jobs, for support. The people who came here with nothing and need someone to shield them from predators. His voice was passionate now. My grandfather started this organization in the 1970s because the police wouldn't help Korean immigrants. We were getting robbed, beaten, exploited, and the authorities didn't care. So we protected ourselves, built our own system. It's not perfect, and yes, it's illegal, but it works. Martha thought about her own community, about the ways the system failed Black families, about the informal networks of protection and support that existed because official channels were useless. She understood, perhaps better than Taijin realized, the necessity of building alternative structures. Okay, she said slowly. I understand the why. I need you to understand something too. I'm not going to change who I am for you. I'm not going to stop working, stop helping people, stop living my life just because it's dangerous. If we're doing this, it's as equals. Partners, not you protecting some fragile thing. Something like respect flickered in his eyes. I wouldn't want you any other way. And if I decide I can't handle your world, you let me go. No drama, no threats, no making it hard for me to leave. He hesitated on that one, and Martha saw the possessiveness war with honor in his expression. Finally, he nodded. If you want to leave, I'll let you go. I won't make it easy. I'll fight for you, try to change your mind, but I won't trap you. You'll always have a choice. Then we have a deal. Martha held out her good hand, and Taejin took it, not shaking but just holding, his thumb tracing circles on her palm. One more thing, he said quietly. I need to tell you what I'm planning to do tomorrow. Tomorrow? Tomorrow, if you'll let me, I'm going to ask you to marry me. Martha's brain short-circuited. What? I know it's fast. I know it's crazy. But Martha, in my world, when you find something worth protecting, you claim it immediately. You make it official, make it clear to everyone that this person is under your protection, part of your family, untouchable. He shifted to kneel on the floor in front of her wheelchair, looking up at her with those intense dark eyes. Marrying you tells every enemy I have that you're not just some woman I'm sleeping with. You're my wife. Attacking you means declaring war on me and everything I control. It's the ultimate protection I can offer. That's the most unromantic proposal reason I've ever heard. I know, but that's not the only reason. He took both her hands now, cradling them gently. I want to marry you because when I thought you were going to die, my whole world stopped. Because you make me want to be better than I am. Because I look at you and see my future. Kids with your smile, a house where laughter lives, someone to come home to who sees me as a person, not a position. His voice dropped to a whisper. Because I'm falling in love with you, and I don't know how to do this halfway. Tears streamed down Martha's face. We've known each other 4 days. I know. This is insane. I know. My mother's going to think I've lost my mind. Probably. He squeezed her hands. But Martha, I promise you, if you say yes, I will spend every single day proving I'm worth the risk. I'll build you the life you deserve. I'll protect you and your family with everything I have. I'll love you with everything I am. You can't promise forever. Nobody can. Then I'll promise today and tomorrow and every day after until forever happens on its own. He pulled a small box from his pocket. When had he gotten that? And opened it to reveal a ring that took Martha's breath away. Simple platinum band with a single diamond. Elegant and understated and perfect. Martha Hayes, will you marry me? Will you take a chance on a criminal who's never been good at anything except survival until he met you? Will you let me love you the way you deserve to be loved? Martha looked at the ring, then at Taejin's face, then back at the ring. Every logical part of her brain screamed that this was too fast, too crazy, too dangerous. But her heart, her traitorous, foolish heart, was singing. She thought about her grandmother's voice. Be kind, help others, see the good in people. She'd seen good in Tai-Jin, had watched him care for her mother with no expectation of reward, had felt safe in his arms even covered in her own blood, had witnessed his desperate fear when she'd been hurt, his relief when she'd woken. This was insane, completely, utterly insane. Okay, Martha whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. You absolutely crazy man. Yes. The joy on Tai-Jin's face could have lit up the entire hospital. He slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. How had he known her size? And then he was kissing her, careful of her shoulder, gentle but intense, pouring everything he felt into the contact. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Martha laughed. We're doing this. We're really doing this. We really are. He pressed his forehead to hers. Thank you for taking the bullet, for giving me a chance, for being brave enough to say yes. Thank you for buying my diner and paying my mother's medical bills and staying by my bedside like a crazy person. I'll do so much more than that, I promise. And looking into his eyes, Martha believed him. This was insane, yes. Dangerous, absolutely. Too fast, without question. But sometimes the best things in life came from the most unexpected places. Sometimes love looked like a bullet in a blood-stained suit and a man who was willing to burn the world down to keep you safe. We should probably tell my mother before she hears it from someone else, Martha said. She's going to have words. I can handle your mother. You've clearly never met a black woman recovering from a stroke who finds out her daughter got engaged to a Korean gangster after 4 days. Tai-Jin paled slightly. Point taken. Perhaps we wait until she's a bit stronger? Coward. Strategist, he corrected, kissing her forehead. There's a difference. And despite everything, the pain in her shoulder, her mother in ICU, the insanity of agreeing to marry a man she barely knew, Martha found herself laughing. Really, truly laughing. For the first time in days. Because yes, this was crazy. But it was also real and surprising and full of possibility. Tomorrow would bring challenges. Tomorrow her mother would wake up and have questions. Tomorrow they'd have to figure out how to build a life together from this chaotic beginning. But tonight, in this moment, Martha let herself be happy. Let herself believe that sometimes fairy tales started with bullets and blood and a man who loved her enough to move mountains. I love you, she told Tai-Jin, testing the words. They felt right, surprisingly right. I love you too, he replied, my brave, beautiful, absolutely insane future wife. And in the quiet of the hospital waiting room, with her mother recovering 1 floor up and her sister bringing back terrible cafeteria food, Martha Hayes accepted that her life had irrevocably changed. The waitress who'd just been trying to survive had somehow ended up engaged to a man who controlled half of LA's underworld. It was ridiculous. It was dangerous. It was perfect. Of course, things immediately got complicated because nothing in Tai-Jin's world, Martha's world now, she supposed was ever simple. They told Jasmine first when she returned with sandwiches and coffee. Her sister took one look at the ring on Martha's finger, looked at Tai-Jin, looked back at Martha, and said, You've lost your damn mind. Probably, Martha agreed cheerfully. You've known him 4 days. 4 days, Martha. That's not even a week. I know how calendars work, Jazz. And you're engaged? Engaged? Jasmine was pacing now, gesturing wildly. This is insane. This is beyond insane. This is... She stopped, looking at Tai-Jin. No offense. None taken. Your concerns are valid. Tai-Jin was the picture of calm. But I love your sister, and I'm going to take care of her and your family for the rest of my life. You're a criminal. Yes, people shoot at you, occasionally. And you think this is a good environment for my sister? No, which is why I'm providing the best security available and working to transition more of my operations to legitimate business. Taejin met Jasmine's eyes steadily. I'm not going to pretend I'm perfect or that my life isn't dangerous, but I will protect Martha with everything I have. That's not a promise. It's a guarantee. Jasmine studied him for a long moment, then sighed. Mama's going to lose her mind. I'm aware, Martha said, which is why we're waiting until she's stronger to tell her. Oh no, oh hell no. Jasmine shook her head. You're not putting that on me. I'm not keeping secrets from Mama, especially not about something this huge. You tell her yourself, soon as she's awake and coherent. I'm not being the one who knew and didn't say anything. Martha exchanged a look with Taejin. He shrugged slightly, the gesture saying, your family, your call. She took a deep breath. Okay, tomorrow, when the doctors say she can handle the conversation. We tell her together. Together, Taejin agreed, taking her hand. But they didn't get the chance to tell her mother the next day, because that's when everything went to hell. Martha woke in her hospital bed. They transferred her back after her mother was stable, to the sound of shouting. Not normal hospital noise, but real shouting, panic and fear coloring the voices. She sat up, ignoring the pain, and reached for the call button. Yoon-hee burst through the door, gun drawn, face grim. We need to move you. Now! What's happening? The Jade Serpents. They've hit 3 of our locations simultaneously. The attacks are coordinated, massive. Taejin is handling it, but he wants you somewhere safer until this is resolved. Yoon-hee was already helping Martha out of bed, moving with professional efficiency. We're taking you to a secure location. My mother, Jasmine. I'm not leaving without them. Already arranged. They're being moved to the same facility. Yoon-hee produced clothes. Martha's own clothes somehow retrieved from her apartment. Get dressed, fast. Martha obeyed, hands shaking as she pulled on jeans and a t-shirt, her shoulders screaming in protest. Where's Taejin? Dealing with the Jade Serpents. He'll meet us when it's safe. Is he okay? Is he hurt? Something softened in Yoon-hee's eyes. He's fine. Angry, but fine. Now move. They went out the back way, through service corridors and loading docks, into an armored SUV that looked like it could survive a missile strike. Martha's mother and Jasmine were already inside, her mother looking confused and frightened, still weak from the stroke. What's happening? Her mother slurred. Martha? Who are these people? Friends, Mama. They're keeping us safe. Martha took her mother's hand, trying to project calm she didn't feel. Everything's going to be okay. They drove for what felt like hours but was probably 40 minutes, finally pulling up to a mansion in the hills. Not just big, massive, estate-level wealth, all modern architecture and security systems. Guards were everywhere, and as Martha helped her mother out of the vehicle, she realized this wasn't just a safe house. This was Taejin's home. Inside was even more impressive. Minimalist decor, expensive art, floor-to-ceiling windows with views of the entire city. A staff of people materialized, offering food and drinks, showing them to rooms. Martha's mother was settled in a bedroom on the first floor, access to medical care if needed, while Jasmine got a room down the hall. Martha was led upstairs to what was clearly the master suite. Enormous bed, walk-in closet, bathroom bigger than her entire apartment, and on the bed a note in elegant handwriting. You're safe here. I'll be home soon. She sank onto the bed, overwhelmed. Less than a week ago, she'd been a waitress worried about making rent. Now she was engaged to a crime boss, wearing a diamond ring, sitting in a mansion while a gang war raged outside. Her life had become a movie. A really weird, violent, expensive movie. Hours passed. Martha showered, changed into clothes that had mysteriously appeared in the closet in her size, checked on her mother, reassured Jasmine that they were safe. And through it all, she waited, worried, wondered if Taejin was okay, if he was hurt, if this time the violence would reach him. It was nearly midnight when she finally heard the door open downstairs. Voices, Taejin's, giving orders in rapid Korean. Martha didn't think, just ran, ignoring the pain in her shoulder, flying down the stairs to find him standing in the foyer, suit torn and blood splattered, but whole, alive. "You're okay," she breathed, launching herself at him. He caught her carefully, mindful of her injury, holding her close. "I'm okay. We won. The Jade Serpents won't be a problem anymore." "You sure?" "Because I'm getting really tired of people trying to kill you." His laugh rumbled through his chest. "Their leadership is gone. The organization is shattered. We have peace, at least for now." He pulled back to look at her and his expression was fierce. "I'm sorry I put you through this. All of you. This isn't the life you signed up for. Actually, I think I did sign up for it when I said yes to your insane proposal." Martha touched his face, checking for injuries. "Are you hurt?" "Bruises. Nothing serious." He caught her hand, pressing a kiss to her palm. "Your mother is fine, resting. Jasmine is freaking out but handling it. And I've been going slowly insane waiting for you to come home." Martha's voice cracked. "Don't do that again. Don't leave me waiting and wondering if you're going to die." "I'll try not to." "But Martha, this is my life. There will be other conflicts, other dangers. I can minimize them, but I can't eliminate them entirely." His dark eyes searched hers. "If this is too much, if you want out, I'll understand. I'll keep you and your family safe, make sure you're taken care of, but I won't hold you to a promise made in a moment of—" She kissed him, hard, desperate, pouring all her fear and relief and love into it. When she finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. "I'm not going anywhere," she said firmly. "You're stuck with me, Kim Tae-jin. For better or worse, in gang wars and peace, in hospitals and mansions, I'm in this, all the way in." The smile that broke across his face was like sunrise. "Thank God. Because I don't know what I'd do if you left. Probably go back to being a terrifying crime boss who everyone's afraid of. I'm still that, just with you as my weakness." He kissed her forehead. "And my strength, and the best thing that's ever happened to me." Sweet talker, truth teller. He scooped her up carefully, carrying her toward the stairs. "Now come on. You need rest, and I need to hold you while I still have adrenaline convincing me I nearly lost you today. I wasn't even in danger. Your people kept us safe. You were in danger the moment you became mine. That's a truth I'm still learning to live with." He carried her into the bedroom, setting her down gently on the enormous bed. "But I promise you, Martha Hayes, soon to be Kim, I will spend every day of my life ensuring that danger never touches you." "You can't promise that. Watch me." He stripped off his ruined suit, revealing a body covered in bruises and old scars, and climbed into bed beside her. "I've built an empire on impossible promises. What's one more?" Martha let him pull her close, careful of her shoulder, his heartbeat steady under her ear. "We should probably talk about logistics, like when we're actually getting married, and what we're telling people, and how we explain this to my mother who still doesn't know I'm engaged to you. Tomorrow. We'll handle everything tomorrow." His fingers traced patterns on her back. "Tonight, just let me hold you and be grateful you're alive. Deal." Martha pressed a kiss to his chest, right over his heart. "But Tae-jin, tomorrow we're having a serious conversation about your life expectancy and how to improve it, because I didn't sign up to be a widow at 26. His laugh vibrated through her. "Noted. I'll make don't die a higher priority." "Good, because I love you and I have plans for you. Long-term plans that require you staying alive. I love you too, my brave, beautiful, absolutely insane fiancé." He tightened his arms around her. "Thank you for saving me, for loving me, for being crazy enough to say yes. Thank you for being worth saving." And in the darkness of his bedroom, safe in his arms, Martha finally let herself believe this could work. This strange, violent, unexpected love. Because sometimes the best things came from the worst moments. Sometimes a bullet meant for someone else changed your entire life. And sometimes the person you saved ended up saving you right back. Tomorrow would bring challenges. Her mother's reaction, the logistics of combining their worlds, the ongoing dangers of Taijin's life. But tonight, Martha was content to just be held by the man she loved, in a house that was starting to feel like home, building a future from the ruins of a shooting that should have destroyed everything. Life was strange. Life was unpredictable. But wrapped in Taejin's arms, Martha decided that strange and unpredictable wasn't so bad. Not when it came with love, protection, and a man who'd move heaven and earth to keep her safe. She fell asleep smiling, the ring on her finger catching the moonlight. A promise of tomorrow she'd never imagined, but was learning to embrace. The Waitress and the Gangster. It was a terrible romance novel plot. But it was her romance novel plot, and Martha was determined to write it with a happy ending. Even if that ending involved more bulletproof vests and security details than most love stories. Every relationship had its quirks, after all.